What's up, sports fans? It's your man B back, speaking my sports talk. All right, man, check it out. I want to talk about Terence Bud Crawford. That's right, Terence Bud Crawford. Just what the hell is next for you, Terence Bud Crawford? See, now, you know, look, man, Terence Bud Crawford has done his thing. He's done his thing at 135. He won a title. He moved on to 140, clean out the division. And along the way, the guys that he faced were not really to the level of Terrence. However, he still accomplished. He achieved. He won championships. He cleaned out a division, four belt undisputed, which is something that has been elusive to most fighters in boxing. The majority of them, because guys just don't go undisputed. Terrence Crawford accomplished that. But now Terrence Crawford is at 147. And now Terrence Crawford, the only thing that he's accomplished at 147 is beating a Jeff Horn, C-level fighter, to capture the WBO title. And since he's beaten Jeff Horn and captured the WBO title, his fights since then have been lackluster. I mean, he beat Jeff Horn and then he went on to beat one uh, Jose Benavidez, which Jose Benavidez was shot in the knee and he didn't have the greatest mobility during that fight. Also, not as skilled as Terence Crawford, and with the lack of mobility, wasn't really a fight that we expected Terence Crawford to lose. However, Terence Crawford did go 12 rounds in that fight. Late in the 12th round, he ended up stopping Jose Benavidez, which, again, I don't think anybody expected Crawford to lose that fight. And after Jose Benavidez, Terence Crawford would see one Amir Khan. Amir Khan, who's chinny, who's finished, who's on a serious decline, and who was never expected to be the Terence Crawford. Never expected. Another easy touch, if you ask me. And he had a valid opponent, and somewhat valid, and an Egidius Kavialaskis, green machine, as they call him. But the thing with Kavialaskis is who did he actually face, and how much had he proven himself at 147? I will say that he was a valid opponent, a tough opponent. Egidius Kavialaskis can box. Egidius Kavialaskis offers power. Uh, so that would test Terence Crawford. And he actually dropped Terence Crawford in that fight. But as the champion he is, Terence Crawford got back up and beat the living hell out of Egidius Kavialaskis. He prevailed in that fight. And after seeing Egidius Kavialaskis, Terence Crawford would see a broken down, 3 years removed from himself, Kell Brook. He was drained, broken down, and he was removed from himself. Terence Crawford stopped him, which I believe everyone expected. And my whole thing is that this has been Terence Crawford's road at 147, a low-level fighter, and then four fights followed that of fights that we expected him to beat the guy, if not stop the guy. And he stopped them all. He stopped them all. You know, he's been impressive against low-level fighters. But the thing is, what are you going to do now, Terence Crawford? Because you have your belt. Years ago, when Terence Crawford stepped up to the 147-pound division, I think we were all privy to this situation where Errol Spence and Terence Crawford were at each other's. Who's the best? And I'm going to beat your ass. I bet you $1 million, back and forth. And it would appear that the PBC side is not really interested in this fight. I mean, you can't really argue that. If you want the fight, make the fight. And they're putting up every obstacle they can. Oh, you blame who you want to blame. Errol Spence, you want to blame Al Heyman. One thing's for sure, we do know that the PBC side of this is putting up a hell of a lot of fight on Terence Crawford and Errol Spence getting in the ring. Not to say that there's not resistance from the other side, top rank. Bob Arum shares his part in this fight not happening as well. I will stick to that. But we do know that the PBC and Al Heyman and Errol Spence with the fight with Shawn Porter and fight with Danny Garcia and doing everything in house. They're definitely playing their part in us not getting this fight between Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. So this one, guys, I believe that we most of us agree is off the table for now. But still, the question remains: what are you going to do, Terence Crawford? What are you going to do? You know. Well, there's another fight that was talked about with Terence Crawford and possibly could have happened. And then we had the pandemic situation, so that fight pretty much fizzled out. And at this point now, the WBA champion Manny Pacquiao looks like he's more interested in a crossover fight with one Conor McGregor. And should Manny Pacquiao take that money fight, big money fight it will be, he deserves it. Pacquiao can do what he wants. But should he take that fight with Conor McGregor? The WBA is going to strip Manny Pacquiao, and he will not be the WBA champion. But it's safe to say that the Pacquiao camp is not looking in Crawford's direction. They're not talking about Crawford. Crawford's talking about them, but they're not mentioning Crawford. I mean, they even mentioned Mikey Garcia. Well, some talk of Errol Spence, but they're not mentioning Crawford. So the question remains again, Crawford, what are you going to do? Because there's no Errol Spence on the table. There's no Manny Pacquiao on the table, Terrence. But Crawford, here's something that's interesting, guys. Should Manny Pacquiao take that fight with Conor McGregor, which is looking like he will? He signed with the same management, MMA management company that Conor McGregor is under. They've been in negotiations and talks about this fight happening. Conor's stoked about making money. Manny's stoked about making money. Crossover fight between these two guys will be bigger money than he could see with Crawford or Errol Spence for that matter. And it looks like that's the direction Manny Pacquiao is going to take. But once he gets stripped, you know what's interesting is that Yordenis Ugas, and I did a video about this, guys. Hey, a live, not a video, but we did a live about this. Ugas is the next fight for Terence Crawford. I thought I put this up here. Pretty interesting. I said this a while back. Ugas will be the next fight for Terence Crawford. Said it a while back, guys. And it looks like it may still be in the cards because if Manny Pacquiao takes that fight with Conor McGregor, they will strip him. And Ugas, the WBA regular champion, most likely will be elevated to the WBA super champion. Perfect opportunity for Terence Crawford to try to slide in there and get a belt, a second belt, a unification match with Yordenis Ugas. Therefore, Terence Crawford, validity on your demand for more money versus Errol Spence. You will too now have two belts, unification, Terence Crawford. You will have more leverage in that negotiation with the PBC and Errol Spence to get your just due. Terence Crawford, maybe Ugas could be on the plate. But as of now, we don't know what Manny Pacquiao is going to do. And it still leads us back. Who is it, Terence Crawford? Who is it going to be? I mean, you do have the WBO belt and a WBO mandatory with one Shawn Porter. Shawn Porter, who you say you're not interested in fighting. Well, Terence Crawford, Shawn Porter is a top 5 welterweight. And you're not, as we talked about, going to be able to get the Pacquiao fight. That's not going to happen for you, Terence Crawford. You and Errol Spence have been talking shit back and forth for 3 years now. Doesn't look like we're going to get that fight either, to tell you the truth. So, Shawn Porter's on the menu. Shawn is willing to take the fight now. We've been around this dance with the low ball offer that Bob Arum tossed out there to Shawn Porter. I most certainly believe it's a low ball offer. If Shawn Porter going to be paid by the PBC $1.2 million to fight Sebastian Formella with no belt. Neither guy has a $1.2 million, and surely he should be valued higher than that in a Crawford fight. This is a title fight. This is against Terence Crawford. Bob Arum saw fit to give him less. $1 million was the best Terence and Bob could do. And that's a disgrace. That's like spitting in Shawn Porter's face. That's absolute nonsense that they should offer him. So, doesn't seem like that fight's going to be on the table because Porter's not going to take an abysmal $1 million to fight Terence Crawford. Hell, man, lightweights get more money than that, you know? So what are you going to do, Terence Crawford? Now, I would never advise or push for Terence Crawford to say a Jaron in his boots because he's how much credit would Terence Crawford really get from fighting a Jaron in his boots? I mean, he's a prospect, he's unproven. And people would thrash Terence Crawford after he beats him. I believe Terence Crawford would beat him. Jaron in his boots is a very promising prospect, but I've seen him struggle in some fights, and I don't think that he's ready for that level of competition over Terence Crawford. Hey, Terence Crawford, it's not going to be Spence. We know Pacquiao's probably going to run after McGregor, and it doesn't seem like your promoter's interested in seriously making a fight with Shawn Porter the way he lowballed Terence Crawford. So who is it going to be? I mean, if Pacquiao drops the belt, would it be Ugas? But we don't know about that situation. Could it be Jaron in his boots? Terence Crawford, it has to be somebody. It has to be somebody, Terence Crawford, that's valid. Somebody that's going to mean more than Jose Benavidez or Mir Khan, because say what you want, whether it be Jaron in his boots or Shawn Porter or Yordenis Ugas, they're damn sure much better than Amir Khan, Kell Brook. I definitely would give you more credit for those fights. Even the young Jaron in his boots, because Brook was past it. Khan was past it. Benavidez was a gameplay. But even over top of that, Ortiz Jr. won some of Crawford. I mean, Crawford, man, let's think about it. At one time, you were called the Boogeyman. At one time, nobody wanted to fight you. Well, let's run down the list. You're not getting a fight with Spence. You're not getting it with Pacquiao. But you ain't no damn Boogeyman, Mr. Crawford, because there's the one Yordenis Ugas did. Wouldn't mind taking you on. Shawn Porter definitely already said he'd take you on. Not going to do it for a low ball offer of $1 million. Jaron in his boots said, hey, I'll get in the ring with you, Mr. Boogeyman. And Virgil Ortiz won some of Crawford. So you're no damn Boogeyman at 147. No one's afraid of you, Terence Crawford. No one's afraid to get in the ring with you. The question is, Terence Crawford, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Now, guys, I said this a long time ago. You can run it back on Speak Your Mind Sports Talk. Look for the video. Said this a long time ago. We did a live about it. You guys is next. Terence Crawford. Oh, really? Could it be? Could I have been right about that? Will Manny Pacquiao face Conor McGregor? When I put this out, I found out then that Manny Pacquiao had signed with the management team of Conor McGregor. And I put all of this together back then. I said, Manny will get stripped. You guys will get elevated. Perfect chance for Terence Crawford. Will it be you guys? Will it be Porter? Or will it be neither of those? And he goes to prospect, Jaron and his Virgil Ortiz. Two things for sure. Not going to be Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao. Very seriously doubt we get either of those fights back. Would I love to see Porter? Oh, yeah. Love to see Shawn Porter if you're not going to get Errol Spence or Manny Pacquiao. But guys, he won't get much credit for Jaron in his boots. Don't think he'll get top-notch credit for Virgil Ortiz. Yordenis Ugas is a fight that I expect Crawford should win that fight, fairly comfortably. But it's a fight we might have to accept. We just might have to accept. One thing's for sure, two things for certain, Crawford, you got to do something, buddy, because you were once known as some type of boogeyman, but I think that image has disappeared. It's long gone. Nobody's afraid of you, and you need to do something. You don't want to take pay cuts. You don't want to do this. You don't want to do that. 160-40 where you're not worth it. Well, you need to do something at 147, Crawford, because all of that steam you had at 135 and 140, that steam done fizzled out, fam. And we're going to need you to do something at 147. Next fight, no more waiting. What's next for you, Terence Crawford? Is it Ugas or is it Shawn Porter? Because those are the two most valid fights. But you got to do something with yourself, buddy. And y'all know how I always in this thing. For the love of sports, let's talk about it. Peace. Block, pull up to the block and you can shop. What you want to watch out, cause the cops hot.
We shoot a shot, simply see the eye. You can't ball if you ain't got no hustle. Bitch, I keep my grind.